Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. One of the very common questions within the cryptocurrency space is always, how much Bitcoin should I buy? Should I be buying Bitcoin? And even more so, how much Bitcoin should be part of my portfolio? We've seen these numbers fluctuate over the course of the last couple of years, simply because as Bitcoin has become more popular, the number has, of course, also changed. A number of years ago, companies were, I want to say, far more conservative, but I think as we have walked into the realm of BlackRock and Fidelity being in the cryptocurrency space, I think this is now another new gigantic topic that's probably going to be with us for a while, as Bitcoin will be with us for at least the next 100 or so years. It bears mentioning, please understand that while Bitcoin has produced miraculous returns, it is the best performing asset that has ever existed. You can look it up. That's not me saying that. Bitcoin is up by several million percent over the course of the last 15 years. It is the best performing asset ever. However, Bitcoin is also incredibly volatile. It'll have you up at night sometimes wondering why you decided to put money into this market. You'll look at the market one day and you've made 14%. You'll go to sleep, wake up, and it's down by 9%, and you'll be like, that's fun. Losing money is fine. If you decide to be into the cryptocurrency market, especially if you are new here, please make sure not to ever put more money into the market than you can afford to lose. I know that doesn't sound fun, cool, hip, amazing, or fantastic, but if you put any money into the cryptocurrency market, please make sure that you can afford to lose it. That is to say, the extra 100 or 200 that you decide to throw into the market, make sure you do not need it for your rent, or for your insurance, or for your car, or for your child. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but that's the situation that a lot of people end up getting themselves in the cryptocurrency space, because the idea and the allure of making tons of money from the space tends to capture them quite heavily. So please understand that this is a very volatile market, and even though you are seeing spectacular, fantabular news about where the price could be by the end of this year, it is still a volatile market, and it is not for everyone. That being said, there's a very popular company called ARK Invest. They're owned by Cathie Wood. It's usually, and I hate it, it's usually called Cathie Woods' ARK Invest in every single article. Such a weird title to always have. They're very, very popular within the cryptocurrency space. They've released their 2024 publication about where they think that the market is, where the market's going to go. And it's called Big Ideas 2024. In the report, they talk about Bitcoin as an asset class, as Bitcoin is itself an asset class. You have the cryptocurrency market, and you also just have Bitcoin as its own thing, and the idea of diversifying into Bitcoin. I've mentioned before the idea of diversifying when it comes to getting into multiple different asset classes is something that you should probably be doing. You typically do not want all of your eggs in one basket, and this also goes if you are in the cryptocurrency space. Many people tend to choose a multitude of, you should be looking for the high-end ranking coins, not random garbage that's being thrown out there. The same holds true if you are in the stock market. If you are just holding Microsoft and Microsoft has a bad year, well, boy, howdy, you're going to be losing money. This is why you have to diversify. They say in a diversified portfolio, they think the amount of Bitcoin that should be held has actually increased. Over the course of the last couple of years, the number that we were typically quoted was around 0.5%. That is to say, a normal allocation for something would typically be around 5% of a portfolio, and you invest in 20 different things. 20 times 5 equals 100. Therefore, you have diversified properly. However, some portion of that 5% allocation, you can have a random spread of 5 things that are relatively risky that could give you more returns, but also might crash at a moment's notice and therefore be riskier for your portfolio. And therefore, investing 5% in things that are risky is typically okay. And therefore, within that 5%, of that 1%, half of it, you would then invest in Bitcoin to just have some kind of exposure. But this also then changes dramatically when you're talking about millions and hundreds of millions of dollars that you could potentially push into a market. That 0.5% that actually ends up going a lot higher. However, ARK Invest said that this asset class has kind of changed over the course of the last few years. And they think now that the actual percentage of the allocation that should be put into Bitcoin is now higher than ever, especially if you've been paying attention to any of the other videos, any of the other articles, any of the other news that we've been getting for about a good 3 to 4 month period. The current optimism based off of the ETFs, their accumulation, the halving, the supply crunch, the amount of people who are buying Bitcoin, and just typically mathematically where Bitcoin tends to go over the course of a 18-month period after the halving has taken place are quite high. These numbers are, they're literally unprecedented, as we haven't hit these numbers, and they are future projections for the price. But the idea is that, this is the idea, this is not the fact. The idea is that this market is going to perform extremely well over the course of the next year and a half based off of all of these things. And therefore, ARK Invest has stated that they think that people should be allocating more into Bitcoin because of this. They said, and I do quote, as Bitcoin continues to prove itself as an asset class, it should definitely be included in personal investment portfolios. However, in personal portfolios, Bitcoin's allocation, they say, should not be 0.5%, should not be 1%, should not be 3%, should not be 7%, it should not be 14%, it should be just under 20% of a portfolio's allocation. They said over the last 7 years, Bitcoin has generated annual returns well above major asset classes. This is very similar to that idea, I'll tell you. You know how you'll look at the stock market over the course of a given year and you're like, oh, that did absolutely terrible. It just keeps on going down. But if you stretch it out and show the entirety, the average over the course of a 20, 30-year period, irrespective of the amount of drops that they've actually incurred, you'll typically see a return of around, on average, 7 to 8 to 9% per year. So some years are bad and some years are really good. And in between, if you pull the cord and you see like that, I don't know why I'm doing that, you'll be able to see exactly that Bitcoin, regardless of the bear market, still outperformed other asset classes. They said our analysis shows that including 19.4%, very exact number, 19.4% of Bitcoin in a portfolio in 2023 would have maximized a portfolio's risk-adjusted returns. Because I think Bitcoin more than doubled, I think 2.5 over the course of 2023. They said the ideal allocation rate in portfolios was 0.5%. in 2015, 6.2% in 2022. They said at this point, if 1% of the global market for Bitcoin put 1% of their portfolio into Bitcoin, we would have a Bitcoin price of $120,000. They said if the allocation for people in the market was 19.4%, we would have the price potential of Bitcoin reaching $2.3 million per coin, end quote. Very fascinating time to be in the market, as the optimism is basically everywhere. We've only had a few periods in cryptocurrency history where actual pessimism was really, really strong. One of them was the FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, Alameda, all these other thing collapses. We had a couple of low smidge of it over the course of 2023, even with Bitcoin more than doubling in price. And now we've gotten to like this really weird base level of hyper optimism where everyone is not only expecting the price to go up, but all the analysts as well are now releasing numbers talking about exactly how high they expect the market to be. And now we've also gotten to the point where we talk about portfolio and asset allocation. 0.5% was the number for a very long time, as Bitcoin wasn't seen as an asset class. It was something brand new. It was around for 6 years at that point that had just entered the market. And now we've gotten to the point where ARK Invest is talking about a 20% allocation. I'm going to try and find, I think it was last year where the people from BlackRock, they also have a number where they were talking about exactly how much money they believed should be allocated into Bitcoin. And I don't remember the number, but it was definitely somewhere around 20%. Like it was something rather high that I was also a little bit taken aback by, because I was like, that's also what BlackRock is saying. And I'm of the mindset that a lot of this news isn't for us. A lot of the news of ARK Invest, like ARK Invest isn't talking to like normal everyday investors. They're talking about a 20% allocation if you have hundreds of millions of dollars. Same exact thing with BlackRock. When they talk about these like actual numbers, it's for their shareholders. It's for these other rich people who they hang out with, so they know how much money to move into the market. Also, not even considering, for those of you who weren't here for that video, you should go back and watch it. We heard that just based off of relative numbers, if we continue to see accumulation just from the people who have issued spot ETFs, they're talking, the analyst was talking about a $131,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year. So I think things are going to get a bit crazy. Yeah, very weird time, very interesting time to be in the market as well. It's very exciting. You can't say that it's not. We've gone through a lot of the last couple of years dealing with all the nonsense and the prices moving down in the bear market. So it's nice to see this energy re-entering the space. I do sincerely hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, or great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.